guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing really good today. As you can tell by the title, this video is going to be about my kids. What is life like raising kids with special needs? Just basically my story. I'm gonna try to answer questions that have been asked to me before. I'm gonna try to basically just talk to you guys in this video about my kids, my experiences, what it's been like, questions that have been asked to me before, even questions that I feel like people have but they're either too embarrassed to ask me, just don't know me well enough to ask me. But I'm gonna get into the bottom of everything, and I am gonna tell you everything from beginning till end. At the end, if I didn't answer your question, please make sure you leave them down below in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them for you. I know at the end of this video I am going to forget to mention and say a lot of things. Typically I write notes and I didn't. I just said that when I made this video, I'm just going to go with the flow, say what comes to my mind, try to start from the beginning and not keep it too long. Definitely not going to try to make this video a really long video, but you know, when I made my channel with the intentions of doing lifestyle videos, you know, lifestyle videos with my kids and talking about my kids. I know that beauty is definitely one of my biggest passion, and I get caught into it. You know, my channel is mostly about beauty and fashion, but I definitely want to incorporate more lifestyle. You know you guys have asked me for like a fitness video. I'm definitely gonna do that. I haven't forgotten. I even talked to my trainer about that too, and she's ready for that. But definitely want to incorporate things now more with my kids so that they're more involved. I want to raise awareness to speak to people and you know, talk to people about learning when your child has something just different, nothing, you know, alarming, just, you know, not caught up. As simple as, you know, not talking on time, or, you know, not running when they should be running. You know, kids develop differently. Some of them are delayed, and that's very, very normal and very natural for some kids to be delayed. But the most important thing is to be aware when there is something wrong. And I think that people don't want that stigma. They don't want that label. And that's the worst thing you can do for yourself, for your child, is not getting that, you know, taking your child to see if there's something wrong. You know, maybe there isn't, but maybe there could be. And the only way you're going to find out is by being aware and taking action. I want you guys to stay tuned at the very end of this. I'm not even going to tell you, but I'm going to attach some videos. I don't know if throughout the video, I'll figure that out when I edit this video, if I'm going to stick them between, you know, shots, or just throw all the videos at the end, which is probably something I'm going to do, but I'm not sure yet, so you have to watch this whole video. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get started with this video. So I have two kids. I have an 11-year-old daughter and I have a 3-year-old son. My daughter's 11 and she has Down syndrome. And I left Miami in July. I got pregnant in April. And when I moved up here to North Carolina, where I live, I went to the doctor. And one of my first appointments were to ultrasound appointment. And during the ultrasound, you know, they were checking me out. I know that, you know, a technician was taking some time, you know, looking at everything. She just basically made an appointment for me to follow up again, that everything seemed okay. It was very early, so nothing was said to me other than, you know, here's an appointment for your next visit. It was another ultrasound, and she stepped out. In comes another technician, which I'm assuming her supervisor, you know, a more higher technician for ultrasounds. And he just basically said to me that he's just watching the development of the baby, you know, the growth of the baby, making sure that, you know, everything is growing at the right time. They were basically telling me that your stomach and then your intestines, they weren't connecting. So the baby was developing, but that wasn't connecting. I know it's one of the things that, you know, typically connects early on in the pregnancy. And remember, I'm about 4 months at this time. So they were basically saying it wasn't connecting, and that's not a common thing, that it's, you know, it should be connecting. But if it doesn't connect, most likely the baby's gonna have to have surgery when the baby is born. So, you know, at that point I was already in panic mode. I was wondering, why isn't it connecting? Why is my baby not developing correctly? The procedure that needed to be done was a duodenal atresia, and that is what that procedure is. When they had me meet with a surgeon, he explained to me on a chalkboard, you know, what he had to do, and he had to do it immediately after the baby was born. So by then I was pretty much a mess. Couldn't understand why the baby wasn't being born healthy. You know, we always pray and we take that for granted. You know, having a healthy baby is something that I think most people take for granted because it almost seems very natural. And in the end, although it is a very natural thing, it doesn't plan out that way for everyone. So I do know that they were telling me that the babies with Down syndrome, 75% of kids with Down syndrome are born with this type of genetic disorder where it's not connected. The stomach and the intestines aren't connected. And they asked me if I wanted to do the amnio, but you know, I didn't want to take the amniocentesis test because I knew of the risk behind it. I was gonna have my baby otherwise. And one of the questions I get asked a lot, if people tell me, you know, did they ask you if you wanted to abort the baby? And I don't remember ever having a doctor or nurse ever tell me that. I think I would remember that. So I was never told that. They just asked me if I wanted to take the amnio test, because the amnio test was gonna say what 99.9% if the baby was going to have Down syndrome or not. So I didn't want to take the test. I was going to have the baby anyway. So they sent me in for blood work. And through the blood work, my percentage kept becoming smaller and smaller. And at the very end, after maybe 5 or 6 ultrasound appointments, they basically said to me, if there's 30 kids in a classroom, there's your chance of having one child with Down syndrome. So 1 out of 30 is your percentage. And at that point, I don't know what I was more in fear of. Was it the surgery or the fact that she was going to be born with Down syndrome? And I definitely have to say it was the surgery, because I wasn't, in my mind, I think I wasn't really, I said, she's not going to have Down syndrome. I said, I'm going to be 1 out of those 29. I didn't think, you know, that was going to happen. So during my visit, while I was still pregnant, they kept telling me that I was going to go into labor early because of the fact that the baby did not have the stomach connected to the intestine. They told me that, you know, most likely she's going to come early. And she did come early. She came 2 months early. She was supposed to be born in January and she came in November. So when she was born, very tiny, 3 pounds, very transparent. I mean, she was just like very gray, very small. She was jaundiced, you know, in the incubator. That was some really, really tough times in my life because I just didn't really comprehend everything. I didn't understand, you know, basically why she wasn't born healthy. They definitely confirmed the Down syndrome when she was born. Really ever recall the fact that she had that diagnosis of Down syndrome ever be like, you know, a hardship as much as the fact that she had to have surgery. The surgery thing was the hard part about my whole pregnancy when I had my daughter, because she just wasn't born healthy. I couldn't understand why something so small was going to have surgery. Is she going to survive that? She's so little, she's so fragile. And you know, she spent 3 months in the hospital. She had 2 major surgeries. Prior to her having her stomach surgery, they found a hole in her heart that was more severe than the stomach surgery. So once I found that out, they had to do surgery right away. Another surgery she has to have. So she had to have the heart surgery first. So she did the heart surgery, and you know, coming back from surgery, I couldn't believe she was actually awake. So swollen, unrecognizable. I mean, she didn't even look real, to be honest with you, but I couldn't believe she was awake. It gave me such a sense of peace, because the fact that she was awake after heart surgery made me realize oh, she can handle the stomach surgery, you know, that wasn't going to be a problem. So, but 3 months of pretty much hell. I mean, you know, when you have a child, you just want to bring that child home. And I think that that was the hard part for me, is not being able to bring her home right away. And it seemed like every single day I asked the nurse, you know, when is she coming home? I would set dates. They would always give me a date and it never happened. That was hard. That was definitely the hardest part. But she made it through. She started getting bigger and gaining weight. So yeah, she finally came home, and it was just, you know, some bumps on the road. Definitely some bumps on the road. I will definitely say that raising kids with a disability isn't easy. It's definitely hard. But I think raising any child is hard. I don't think that any child is easy. When you have a child, there's always challenges, especially for a new mom, and that being my first child. You know, it was definitely some major challenges. And the challenges that came with that was basically busy. Busy in the sense of not just so much motherhood, but getting the right help for your child. When you have a child with special needs, you're the only advocate for that child, and you're the only one that's going to provide the help that that child needs. Those sources are out there, but you're the only one that can go and get them. Whatever type of disability a child has, some parents can turn the eye. Some parents don't want to label. You know, I don't consider my kids label. I do speak, and I'm very open about, you know, who they are. I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever. And I don't consider that a label. My kids are happy, healthy, you know, but I don't label them. I don't consider their challenge who they are. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. And basically what I'm saying is that, you know, when you do have a child that you might feel or detect that there is something different about them, you have to talk to your doctor about it. You know, your doctor's always going to guide you and tell you where to go, you know, who to speak with, send you to a referral of someone that can help you and figure it out. And probably there's nothing wrong with the child. You know, kids all developed at a different pace. Kids develop at a different time. So there's no need to ever panic. But you have to be aware of, you know, if there's something different, if there's something going on, if they're not talking on time, or if they're not walking on time. And again, some kids are just, you know, a little behind, and there's nothing wrong with that. But with her, came in all the therapy, the physical, the speech, the occupation, all kinds of therapy that I had to set for her. And that's where my life was just busy. Those first a good 3 years of my life, just back-to-back therapy appointments, and, you know, getting her to see the right people. So when you have a child and you bring them home and you're thinking, what next? You know, all these resources are out there for you. As a parent, you need to take advantage of them. And, you know, and the reason I'm talking more about this now than ever is because, you know, I have met some parents who, you know, they have a young child that should be speaking at the age that they're in, and, you know, they weren't really too concerned about it. And, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I would never give a parent any kind of advice, especially if it's a parent that I don't know. It's not my part. It's not something I would do. But to me, my way of reaching out to them is by creating this video, by creating awareness and explaining to young moms that you have to try to do the best you can for your child, and, you know, get them the help, because they might need help. If you don't talk to their doctor about it, they're not going to know. You know, they see so many patients on a day-to-day basis. If you don't talk to your doctor about, you know, things that, you know, you're not seeing, you know, there's so many books out there, and it tells you, you know, where your child should be at what age. And that's basically, that's a very good resource out there, because if you feel like your child isn't walking right or isn't running, let's say your child isn't running for a very long time, you know, they've been walking, but they're just not running, they might need some little physical therapy to help them, because it could be, you know, just as simple as a weak muscle, and getting them that therapy can help them run and it's temporary, and it helps them for the long run. It's a temporary thing that can make a huge thing in the future of your child by getting them that kind of help. And like I said, that is one of the things that I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful for the fact that I advocated for her, and I went out there and I got all the sources for her to help her develop into who she is today. Today, she's just amazing. She runs and yells and talks, and you might not everybody can understand her, but believe me, she will make her point across. And if you don't understand her by the second or third time, she's gonna be mad at you. Okay, so yeah, she's definitely a little Spitfire is what they call her. But that's where my son comes in. About when my son turned 2, a lot of the questions that I know I'm going to be asked is all this stuff genetic? And I will tell you this much. I know that Down syndrome isn't. I learned in the time that I've had my daughter and all the research that I have done that there is no real explanation. I know they say that the older you get, the higher your risk is, and that is true. The older you get, the higher the risk is. And what I learned with that was that people don't realize how common miscarriages are. Miscarriages are very common, and miscarriages happen because something in the stomach and the fetal of the baby isn't correcting itself, or not developing correctly, or it could be the health of the mom. It could be as simple as, how the mom is treating her body. There's many reasons why a woman has miscarriages, but one thing I did learn for sure is that some miscarriages happen because the baby isn't developing correctly, and it's God's way of allowing the female body to dispose of something naturally that isn't correcting itself. And I think that is the most amazing, miraculous thing that God's done for, us women, to be able to have your body function in such manner. So I realized that time that, my daughter was definitely meant to be here because she stuck through the entire pregnancy. She came early, but she came with enough time to survive. And that's why I appreciate life so much. But I also learned that Down syndrome is definitely something that can happen to any mom. I mean, I had her when I was 32. I was definitely not too old to have kids. I don't have that in my family history. It's not genetic. It's just something that can happen to anyone at any time. There is no scientific evidence as to why it really happens, other than the fact that if you do wait longer and that sperm lashes onto an old egg, there could be a high risk that that child can be born with Down syndrome. So that's where my son came in. My son was born 3 years ago, and I was 40 years old. I definitely was high risk. Maybe shouldn't have been, not a good idea maybe to get pregnant, but it happened. And that was another blessing in disguise because I never really wanted her to be my only child. I always wanted her to have a sibling. But because God has such an incredible personality, he always knows who you are and what you can handle. And again, your journey is written out. You just have to, it's how you handle it, and it's how you basically handle the things that are given to you in life. And when my son was born, I noticed that at 2 years old, he wasn't speaking. And I knew that even though my daughter, the only example I had, because I learned a lot about when kids should be meeting certain milestones. And I knew that at 2, my son wasn't meeting his. And it wasn't, there wasn't really anything that I was really worried about because he was healthy, typical child running around and doing things that a typical 2-year-old little boy does. But the speech wasn't there. He wasn't talking as much like a 2-year-old does. So I brought that up to his doctor, and, she recommended that I see someone that basically, they evaluate your child. In the evaluation, they were asking me a lot of questions, and I noticed the evaluation wasn't something that, oh, I meet your child, they ask you questions about you, they ask you questions about your child, and they say, okay, here, this is what he has. They don't do it like that. They definitely spend time with you, and it's not just one visit, it's several visits. It's watching your child, it's spending time alone with your child. So when you have, let's say, a psychologist or whatever kind of resource is out there that your doctor sends you to, and here in North Carolina we have this thing called the infant toddler program. Basically, I don't know about every other state and how this works for any other state. I know every state has their own providers that they will send you to help you diagnose your child when there's something wrong. And what we have here in North Carolina is the infant toddler program. So it's basically like a caseworker that's being assigned to you, along with like a psychologist and a therapist. And they're the ones that came to my house to visit several times, not just on one visit. And, you know, in between their visits, I started really noticing things about my son, that he was able to, we got these magnetic letters that you put on the refrigerator, you know. I got them all, I scrambled them, I threw them on the floor, and he was able to put all his alphabets in order. I'm not going to take the credit for it because it's not something I sat down and taught him. You know, obviously he has an iPad. You know, kids are going to learn from anywhere, whether it's the TV, whether it's out in the street, whether it's a computer. This is the world we're living in right now, and wherever you're going to get your education from, as long as you're getting it, you're getting it. So he uses the iPad. I know people have some discrepancies about that, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, but I believe everything in life is good as long as it's in moderation. So he does have an iPad, he does watches his iPad in moderation, but yeah, he put all his alphabets in order, and I gotta show you guys that video. I have that video for you guys to see, and he was able to put all his alphabets in order, and he was saying the sound, like the pronunciation, not saying the actual letters. Well, now he can say the letters, but he was saying the pronunciations, and he wasn't speaking. So he had just turned 2. Like, no 2-year-old kid, it's not common for them to know these things. So one of the things that, you know, the therapy helps is, you know, instead of, you know, he was stacking his crayons and putting them all in order. And to stack a crayon takes a lot of skills, a lot of, you know, steady hands. That's pretty challenging for any 2 or 3-year-old. They're going to get it and they're going to put it in their mouth and they're going to color, or they're going to grab it and draw on the wall. But he was doing different things with the crayons, you know, and that's basically why I noticed that that was different. Little things like that. And, you know, whether it's a toy, like let's say it's figurines of animals, or, you know, of superhero figurines, instead of playing with them like you're supposed to, he would probably put them in order, color, categorize them, little things like that. So what therapy does is they help you. They teach him how to color with those crayons instead of stacking them up. They teach him how to interact with the little soldiers and play with them instead of organizing them. So it's basically like social skills and life skills, you know, how to properly and play so that he is caught up at his age. And that's what's important. My son is 3 years old today, and he does eye contact. He plays with other kids, stuff that he wasn't doing at 2. I would call him, or the therapist would call him, and he wouldn't look at you, he wouldn't respond to you. A whole year later, he's a different boy. He responds, he looks at you, he plays with other kids, which is something he wasn't doing before. He's a better independent player, but he's definitely engaging with kids, acknowledging that they're there. So that is one of the biggest things that I've seen with him, you know, is the fact that he's playing now with other kids, and he definitely reacts when you call his name or he comes to you. You know, he's just changed so much. The way a child is diagnosed now with autism, things have changed a lot. Back in the days, they had maybe different names for them and stuff like that, but now it's just 1, 2, and 3. 1 being high functioning and 3 being the lowest functioning. and he got the high functioning. He's a level 1. I know I'm sharing a lot of personal things, but that's because I want to. I want people to know and to be knowledged with this information, just like I'm learning every single day when I go and I take one of my kids to the doctors. I learn so much from them. He's already getting his therapy. He's gonna go to a regular classroom. He's gonna be in with regular kids. You know, I have teachers in my family, and my cousin's a teacher. She says that she's a 5th grade teacher or 4th grade, and she has 3 kids in her class with autism, and she's like, they're the best. They're amazing because they don't get into any trouble and they don't cause problems. They just go there to do their work, you know, and then go home. The more that I surround him by the right therapy, the more I surround him by other peers and stuff like that, the better that is for him, especially at this crucial time in kids' lives. When kids are very, very little, if you don't get that help for them, then it hurts them in the long run. That's why they say kids, when they're little, they pick up things. They're like a sponge. You know, they pick up everything and they lock it in their minds. And that is true. From the time they're born to about the time that they're 10 years old is the most crucial time in their lives, because they are picking up on everything. And if you wait too long to get them that help, it could be hard for them later on in life to learn it. You know, so it's very important to be aware of your child, their needs, their health. And, you know, most importantly, talking to your doctor and making sure that, you know, you have no questions. You want to have them all answered. The journey that I have been put on is incredible. I wouldn't change a thing, honestly, because it's just a testament to my strength and my abilities, my loyalty and my closeness, my relationship with God. I feel much closer to him because I feel like, you know, he gave me these challenges. I do believe most kids are born very healthy. I don't think that there's anything moms out there should worry about, especially if you're a mom who's pregnant and that's watching this. Please don't worry about stuff like that. Maintain a healthy diet. You have nothing to worry about. Very, very higher chances of a child being born healthy than having any kind of issues. What I want to know is, help me out. What kind of videos do you guys want to see with my kids? I would love to show you guys videos of them, you know, in therapy, just so you guys could see what a session is like. Tell me, ask me, what kind of videos do you want to see? What kind of lifestyle videos do you want to see with my kids in them? And any questions that you guys may have for me. I am so sure that there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to wish I brought up in the video and I didn't, but that's okay, because next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all these things that come up that I want to mention and speak to you guys about. I'm going to write them down and I will create another video once I have a good amount of things that I want to discuss. That is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Just leave them down in the comments section and I will answer all your questions. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you guys all for watching. Oh my God. You love hugging? Another hugging? Bye. Bye, Hunter.
Valerie helped bring this event together tonight. This is Heidi. Heidi's being brought out to the stage by Stacy. Hi, ladies. Don't they look beautiful? See, thank you. Heidi's had 2 dance lessons, right? You love to dance? What about
cheese. Smile. Oh, you are smiling. Okay, I wish I would have gotten this and I wasn't recording. He only skipped the I and the J. He forgot the N. W X Y Z. Desi. Oh, that's actually. Six. Seven. Eight. What happened to the seven? You had it in your hand. Nine. 10. Good job, baby boy. One. Want to start over? Let's start over. Two. Where's seven? Desi, you're missing seven. It's on the floor. Desi, look at mommy. Eight. Desi. Oh, where's seven? You found seven. That's seven right there, buddy. The seven comes before 8. Desi. 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 Can you fix that mistake? 6, 7, and 8, buddy. There you go.
7, 8, yeah.
Yay! Good job, Desi. Good job. You had them all perfect. So that's basically definitely one of the things. Hi, come here. She's here. How was school, baby?
Hi, Mommy.
Oh, baby, I missed you.
I miss you.
Say hi.
Hi.
Look over here. There you go.
Mommy, I love you.
I love you more. I love you, baby. Beauty is one thing I do love. It's my passion. I love music. Of course, yes, I love music very much. Music, fashion, and makeup.